guys, it's Kate, and I hope you're having a great day. I'm back with some Artist Loft watercolor paper. This is cellulose paper and very inexpensive, and it comes from the Michaels craft store. And then I also have the solid Sumi ink watercolors. This is the Japanesque color that I got from Amazon and did an unboxing a while back. And I wanted to just play with this today and make some darker shapes. So as you can see here, there is like reddish black, yellowish black, and so forth. And they are just some really beautiful colors. So I thought that it would be fun to do some of these shapes today. I'm going to do some glazing, I think, and have some sort of overlapping shapes. And I'm going to start with this bluish black and just really let these travel around the paper. And I started off wet and wet, and I'm just going to drop some color in and let it spread out. And I love the richness of this pigment. It gets so beautiful and dark, and you just, it has such a nice color to it when it kind of fades out too. So you can use it to look almost black, or you can really have fun and just play with lightening up the color. This one is the purplish black, and it almost reminds me a little bit of like almost an indigo with a slight shade of purple, and it is also really beautiful. So I'm going to pick up some extra color here and really let this soak in and bleed out into the rest. Now, since I'm working with this cellulose paper today, and I'm doing wet and wet, I might get some cauliflowering, but that texture is just fine with me today. I don't mind at all, and I'm going to embrace that for the doodles that we'll put on afterward. So I'm going to start off with some of these simpler shapes, and I'm going to do some glazing as we go forward. Now I'm going to let this one touch and flow out a bit, and I'm going to add another color on top. So I'm just going to get this nice and wet, and then I'm going to go into this reddish black and look at that color. It is just beautiful. I'm just going to keep on dropping it around my circle and just letting this color mix together. And I like having this texture here. It's just gorgeous. I'm going to do another red circle over here and just let it go. I'm going to do another little blue one right in here, and I'm going to let it touch the red and let it flow out just a bit. And I'm going to dip into this blue and look at that. Maybe another medium-sized one right over this way, and let it all flow out. We're going to kind of be coming behind it, I think. And I'm just going to make sure to get that nice and coated with water. And I'm going to do another one in the purplish black, just like this. So it's almost like we've got a little bit of a circle behind the circle. Now on this side that's a little bit drier, I'm going to do another red, and I'm going to put it in front of this blue one. And I'm going to kind of coat it around the outside, but let some of that blue edge kind of shine through there. And let it be a nice extra little layer. And then I'm going to do another blue one here, just by itself. It's just delightful. I tell you, it just is. Okay. I think I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to do that purplish black, and I'm going to have it overlap both of these circles here. Now on the Artist Loft paper, you can see even if a circle is pretty much dry, it will still reactivate quite easily when it's re-wet because it doesn't really soak into the paper the same way. It will almost kind of lay on top. So you can get some interesting effects there using a cellulose paper. I've got kind of a gap here, a gap here, and a gap here, and I'm just kind of looking and seeing where I could maybe use something, and maybe I'd put another little blue one here and just let that activate a little bit. Go into this bluish black and put in another dark circle there. And maybe one more red one here. And I think I really like how this is looking. Yeah. I think I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and then we can come back and do some more on it. All right, my painting is completely dry. I love how this dried. There's so much texture. And I thought for this one it would be fun to break out the Posca markers a bit. I have a silver one that I'm going to use for a metallic touch, and I think the cool silver will look really good with these. I also have white, light pink, gray, and navy blue. And I'm not sure if I'll use all of these, but these are the colors I thought might work the best with the doodles today with our background. So we'll have that and a bit of metallic that we can add. So let's get started. I think for these, I want to decide a couple of things. All of these are kind of dark except maybe for this one. So the lightest colors will be the most contrast. So these will be high contrast colors on most of the shapes here. Whereas if I use a navy blue, let's say with this circle, it's going to be a little bit lower contrast, although the centers are all kind of light. So I want to figure out which of my circles I really want to draw attention to. Now, I think this one is a good contender, and that would be good for a dark color. This one is good, and I think this one. I think these will be sort of my stars of the show, these three. And then the rest of them, I'll work on having patterns and doodles in them, but maybe just a little bit lower contrast. So for this one, I'm going to grab a dark color, and I'm going to go with the navy blue over this blue. And I've got these all shaken up already, so let's get started. Now, since I do want it to be kind of the star of the show a little bit, I'm going to make kind of an extra fun doodle. So I'm going to make this a pretty busy pattern, I think, almost like a Zen tangle or something like that. So I am going to start off with putting in some of these little teardrop shapes in sort of a diamond pattern. Then I'm going to come out a little bit sort of to the center of where they are and add 4 more. And that's going to be sort of the start of our circle. Then I'm going to go between all of these and add a circle shape. And I'm going to make this center circle a bit bigger also, just like that. Now I'm going to do some dashed lines, and you know what? I'm going to do a second row of them to really round out this shape. Now if you want to rotate your paper, you can do that if it's more comfortable. Now I've got a lot of dashes here. I'm going to maybe add a few in here also, just to fill it out a bit more. And then I'm going to add some triangles, almost like we've got a little sunburst. And I'm just going to keep on going around. Now I'm kind of looking back. My starter triangles were a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to kind of make sure that I'm doing a similar size. I mean, it's definitely going to be doodly, but I'm just sort of keeping an eye on my overall shape and making sure that it's not widely varying in size. Some variation is fun, but too much, I might not have a place for my shapes to meet at the end. Now, I'm going to make these triangles go behind this circle here because this is on the front. So I'm just going to end my shapes where the edge of that circle is. And this is just such a nice part of doing the doodles. I mean, you can really have such simple shapes. It is so relaxing to do because you don't have to do a lot of thinking about it, but you can still be creative. And this is a great way to increase your mark making vocabulary. If you have been following me for a while, you know that I love dots and circles like you can see here, and I love leaves and things like that. And as much as I love them, you know, I don't want every single thing that I paint to look like that. So it's nice practice for me, just to be able to have a wider comfort level where I have some additional marks that are just my go-to marks. And it's nice to challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, because the comfort zone, you know, that's where maybe your talents are. That might be what you tend to gravitate to, but you can really grow just by practicing little things like this. So it's just great to do. Now, now this is not a perfect circle, and neither is my doodle pattern, so I've got a little bit of space on the outer edge here. I am just going to leave that because I think that this is still a very interesting shape, and if I want to come back later and add something, I can, but for right now, I think this looks just perfect. So we've got that one, and these were the other two that I wanted to kind of be stars of the show. So I think I'm going to continue with the navy for this one because this one's kind of light too. And, you know, I think I can get away with it with this. This is a pretty opaque color, and even over the darker areas over here, it still shows up pretty well. So I think I can get away with that for these two. And then I'm going to explore the other colors for my other circles. So I'm going to go to this one next and give myself another center dot just for my own reference. And I am going to come up with another pattern. And I think I might do some scallops. And I'm going to start off where it's going to kind of look like a flower. And then I'm going to keep on with the scallop theme. And they're going to get much bigger because I'm going from center to center. That didn't work very well, did it? I have an extra. Oh well. All right, that was my mistake, but we can blend it in, no problem. They get big quickly. Now this one I'm going to be skipping over because I've got another circle in front of it. And sometimes it's easier for me to pull toward myself, so I'm just going to do that where I can. All right, so we've got another nice center that kind of radiates outward, nice and doodly looking and perfectly imperfect. So for each of these outer ones, I'm going to add a little center dot. Why not? Maybe even in each until I get to that very first center row. And I like the navy on this too, and there's still plenty of contrast. So I think I'm going to do the navy on this last one, and then we can explore another color together. So for this one, I want to make another radial pattern. So I just want to decide what we're going to have here. And I think I'm going to make another one where we have some heavy shapes that we're filling in. So I am going to make a shape that kind of looks like all triangles sort of pointed inward, just like this. And then I'm going to try to make them kind of end at similar spots, and I'm going to fill these in. Just like that. And that's going to be the first start of my pattern. Now I'm going to do another teardrop shape. And I'm going to go into the center of each of these and fill these in as well. And this might be, since we have some pretty large shapes that we're filling in here, this might be a good candidate for our silver after everything dries, and we can add some metallics. So now I'm going to add a little bit of line work in here so it's not quite so heavy. So we have a lot of lines in these. We have kind of a mixture. This one's very heavy with the shapes. So I'm going to add 3 lines to the end of each of these little triangle shapes, just like that. And I think that shape we can call good. And I'm going to put this marker away. All right, I've grabbed my white next, and I'm picking my lightest circles, which is this one right here that is in the front, and this one over here. And they're next to some of the higher contrast areas, so that will actually be kind of neat too. So for this one, I'm going to outline it so that you can better see its border over this one here. Now you can see it's still pretty low contrast because we have some really light colors there. I'm going to clean off my marker tip a little bit. And I am going to work on just making a little spiral inside here and just keep it simple, just like that. So we have a nice little low contrast pattern. And maybe for this one, I'm going to do some simple lines. I'm not going to bother outlining this circle because it has a plenty dark outline. So I'm just going to draw my little lines in it and make it very simple. And you know what? I think I might want this white in a third area. So maybe I'll put something out here. And I might just do a simple dot pattern just for something to kind of brighten it up a little bit. Just like that. And it's medium contrast, I would say. Higher contrast right here where it's extra dark, but overall it doesn't really jump out at you too much. I was going to put white in this one, but then I would only have outer circles for the rest, and I want to have another color kind of close to our center of focus here. So I am going to put the white away for now, and I was kind of thinking about doing the gray, but what I might actually do is grab one of my fine liners. So I have this 05 tip. It is a gray fine liner, so it will have a nice thin line compared to these Posca pen marks. And I might actually do the rest of these circles with the fine liner, but we'll see. So for this one, I want to just do a simple pattern, and I'm going to make almost like we have some hanging string around this sphere. Just sort of uneven, but draping down so that it looks like there's just something kind of wound around it. And I'm going to put some circles along each of these lines. And then we can just have a very simple pattern there. Next up, I'm going to work on this one here. And I've got lines going on here, so I don't think I'm going to do that again, but I think I will do a scalloped edge. I really enjoy doing the scallops. They are a lot of fun. And I'm kind of alternating where the ends are so that I can have the top of my bottom scallop kind of intersecting with two from the row above. And I'll just keep on doing that pattern here. Just like that. And I think some of these might be good candidates for a metallic background, or metallic accents, I guess I should say. This one, I'm going to actually add some straight lines here because we are surrounded by a bunch of curves, so that's a good contrast. And so I am going to add a little pattern here with some straight lines with a gap between them. That way we can alternate a little bit on what we're doing. So I've got kind of a line there. Now I'm going to go between them and do some lines going across. So we have not quite a grid, but alternating directions. And where the really dark watercolor is, they just kind of fade away altogether. You can't even see them. And I like that. It's very simple. Now for this one, I don't want to make it too busy either because this is one of the larger circles, so I don't want to take any attention away from these. So I'm going to keep this also a very basic pattern. But what I might do is kind of follow along. Well, let's see. What do we want to do here? We've got some interesting texture here from where the water dried. We've got that little bloom cauliflower effect going on, and we could do something with that. Actually, let's start there. So what I'm going to do is we have this kind of almost like a naturally ruffled edge where the water dried. So I'm just going to make some more scallops. But I'm just going to end where the watercolor ends, and I'm going to kind of bring it all back to this sort of center area so that our lines really follow along with the natural shape of the circle and also those watercolor edges where we had it dry. And I think that looks really neat. And so then maybe we can do some kind of spiral or something along it. I might do maybe some circles. I'm just going to alternate them in size. And it's just going to be a basic circle pattern. What do we think of that? And then we can have another big one kind of coming out from the side there. This is the front circle, so we're just going to make our pattern disappear when it intersects. And I like what we've got going on there. So let's get going on our last little circle. And I think we've got some dots in various places. We've got some lines in various places, but I kind of want to do a bit of a dash pattern. Just like this. And they're just sort of randomly placed. And I'll put them in this little bloom spot and see if we want to take it out further. And I'm even going to carry it into this other circle where we had that color kind of bleed together. And I think that looks pretty neat. So I am going to do some simple little stripes on the other side of that. So it almost looks like a shape within a shape. And I think, whoops, I think this looks really good. So I'm going to actually grab the metallic Posca next, and then we can kind of put on our finishing touches. So I want to definitely add metallic color to our focal point area, and I'm going to start by adding a silver dot to the center of each of these little triangles, because I don't want to color over anything really, because I really like the patterns that we've got, but we can add some more detail, and I think I'm going to definitely do that with just a little accent dot, because you can still see the darkness outside of it, but it makes the pattern really come to life with that further amount of contrast. So I think that'll be what I add to that. Now on this really dark one, we can kind of go nuts if we wanted to. I'm going to do a circle here in the center, and I might outline each of these teardrop shapes, and that will give us a bit more of the metallic. And then I can also add a small silver circle to the end of each of these, and then I think we can do something with these lines also, and this will be a little bit lower contrast, but when you hold it against the light, it will really come alive with the sparkle, and on these dark areas it really stands out still, because you can see that silver right away on the dark background, and that also really livens up this pattern too. So the last one I want to add silver to is this. I'm definitely going to do the center right here, and I may cover up or go right next to some of these dots. I'm not trying to cover them up completely. I'm kind of offsetting them slightly so you can still see the darkness behind them, but there's also some of that silver there. Now what I might also do is add some little silver sort of hash marks around the outside of this in another pattern. And this will be just outside of our shape, just like that. And it's low contrast but sparkly, so that's always good. And why not do something outside of maybe another one of these? Maybe we link these up somehow. Maybe we do a little bit of a dashed line that brings these two circles together. Just a very light pattern, and it kind of leads the eye a little bit to your different areas. And then how about we add a border of dots outside of this shape, because these are kind of our stars of the show, so we can really go nuts and bring them out from the background. But I don't want to overdo the silver, so I am going to call this good, and let's take a look and see what we've got in a close-up. And I really love how this one turned out. We definitely explored some shapes together, some mark making, and we've got some nice sparkle on here. We even kind of went along with some of that watercolor texture that we got on the paper. So that really was a lot of fun to do. And I really hope you enjoyed doing this with me today. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, keep creating.